I mean, I don't think it's an overreaction to be confident that the Bills will still make the playoffs. I think it's an overreaction to take them at minus 300 to make the playoffs. I mean, this is a team that has lost to Jacksonville. So we know that like the Bills aren't the dominant force that they were last year. And really, I don't know how shocked we should be. I mean, the Bills were a young team. You know, they're coming off like an almost dream season where they made this huge jump, and it's always hard to follow up on those years. So at the same time, like I think the Bills will make the playoffs. I just don't want to bet it at minus 300. You're correct in saying I think that the comeback, the fact that the Bills were able to score some points against the tough Buccaneers defense, I think that will give them confidence going forward. But man, like this is a dogfight they're in now. I mean, there are multiple teams who they get hot, and the Bills put up one more stinker loss. This team is done. So for this year, anyways, no, I wouldn't take this bet, but I still would. I still think the Bills will get there.
Okay, Pearce, good news is 3 of their last 4 games come at home against teams with losing records, but the bad news is that other game comes in New England.
That's fine. 3-1 will be good enough. They could possibly go 4-0 as well. It's only really an overreaction if you thought this was an elite top-tier team. And we talked about this the last couple of weeks. This defense was highly overrated because they played an easy schedule. They were able to get up on teams by several touchdown scores, and then they made their opponents play one-dimensionally, and they won those games. In games that they had to play close and had to defend against the pass and the run, well, they've lost all of those games. This defense is just not as good as people thought. Now that they realize it's just an okay defense, and then with that just okay defense, you have a one-dimensional offense. They can't run the ball. They gave the ball to the running backs 7 times yesterday. Now with their schedule, they're probably going to be able to make that work. But come January and February, if you don't have a run game and you have a defense that's borderline suspect, I mean, Josh Allen's going to have to be just run completely hot and perfect, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah, and Jules, Pearce makes a good point here. I mean, Allen's in a walking boot now, too. He hasn't been consistent. The running game's disappeared, and the defense has lacked a bite at times despite the strength overall.
Yeah, look, the Bills aren't as good as we thought they were coming into the year or as they were early in the year when they were winning these games. They had a really soft schedule, and eventually some bad teams snuck up on them. The prime example being not scoring a touchdown and losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's a high, and they can also win in Kansas City on Sunday Night Football, although that was when the Chiefs were still kind of getting things together. So this is about as low floor, high ceiling of a team as you could ask for. Like, they could come undone and miss the playoffs. They could conceivably win the AFC. I don't think they will. But yeah, the bottom line is I'm like Geoff said, they're minus 300 to make the playoffs. Yes, I think they're going to make the playoffs. No, I'm not confident enough to lay minus 300. There's really nothing you can bet for the Bills right now in the futures market. I don't want to bet them to miss the playoffs either. The division with that loss, big game coming up for the Patriots on Saturday night in Indy, but the division is going to be really tough for Buffalo to get, especially with that last game being in Foxborough. So I'm just passing on everything Bills.